So for me, 24 was a number that I came up with at a young age. And I just thought, you know what, I can win 24 bracelets. And I came up with it in 1993, 94. I figured 24 would make me unassailable to the whole world. Yeah. You know, I remember in 2005 when I passed Johnny Chan and I passed Doyle Brunson, and they both came up and congratulated me. And that was classy, right? We all shook hands. They were all like, great job, Phil. I mean, there was a big, you know, when they awarded me that bracelet in front of the whole room that night, right after I won it, there was Chan and Brunson.
Brilliant.
And at that point, we were crazy, Johnny, and I think it was 05, but you know, Johnny Chan and Doyle Brunson and I maybe it was 07 I passed them, but I mean, there were years where they'd win, Doyle would win 2, Chan would win 2, and I'd win 1 bracelet. I think that was 03. And there, I mean, so we were just winning them in bunches, even in the modern era. And so that battle was great. And so, yeah, you're never safe. There are people that can catch me, but now I have the records, and you know, I just have to keep breaking it.
Any of those second places you would have thought, you know what, I really wanted that one?
Yeah, I remember there was a second place where a guy was very, very lucky against me repeatedly. And then, and I still had a chance to take him out. I think I had pocket 5s and he had ace king. And I limped in with the 5s. We were playing 3-handed. The other guy had a peanut of a stack. And he raised, called, and it came 10 jack 7. And he bet and I raised with the 5s. And he just called, and I knew he had ace king. And the turn, I bet, he raised, and I re-raised him. Or at least I called him with the intent of calling on the river. And for some reason, I bailed on the river. All I had to do was call 500,000 on the river. I'm going to bust him. The other guy has the tiniest stack ever, Eugene Todd. And so that one really hurt because I also had the guy all in. I think he had king 10 suited when I had ace queen. I had him all in. We had a flip one time. And so that one hurt. I mean, of course, when I finished second to Brian Rast, that's the one that hurt the most. Because I had him down to no chips. And the whole poker world was watching. The stands were full of people at 3:30 in the morning. That would have been the one, the Poker Players Championship.
Yeah.
Oh, I probably regret a bunch of those second places. I remember one in 1994 where I had 2 aces, and I had a guy named George Rodas on with a king and a 10. Howard Lederer had a short stack. Yeah. And he was on before the flop with king 10. And he somehow won. I remember it came jack 10, and he turned to 10. And, you know, I'd been waiting, moving in. Finally, I had aces. And that one I felt like I was supposed to win. And so there are times where you just feel like you were supposed to win a bracelet and it didn't happen.
Yeah. Apart from poker, you obviously write books. We've touched on that very shortly. I'm going to show you something very shortly on how we first met, and I remember it more than you, obviously. But you're in the New York Times bestsellers list, and we've got the brand new book out at this moment in time. But I have got this. I've got Deal Me In, and I have it signed.
Nice.
Because I was in London at the World Series Poker Europe, and we did the book launch. And I remember we went into a pub on the corner of Leicester Square. Myself and Paul, who still works with us, and we got the book. And this was a new release when it came out, and we signed it off. And I thought, do you know what? Phil Elmuth has just signed a book for me. And it's still pristine, by the way. It is pristine. It's got all the stories. My favourite story is the Devilfish story. I love these little books. But if you wasn't a poker player and a very, very successful poker player, would writing and being an author be right up there of what you would be doing on a regular basis?
I mean, it's very interesting. You know, I mean, I think, you know, this is the first time in an interview I've ever said it, but I think I could have been a motivational speaker pretty easily. That aligns well with me, but you have to accomplish something, I think, to be able to motivationally speak to people, I think, and it's an easier path to get there. So, but I could easily have been a motivational speaker. I could easily have been a successful businessman, and could easily have been a promoter. So I don't really know where I'd be if it wasn't poker, but hopefully I would have written a book or two.
Well, that's there. That's that. I was there when it. I was there with you, and it's signed for me by the great one. And then
book, it's like 50 hand of the weeks, and so you read each one. What takes 2 or 3 minutes to read the story. Just kind of a flavor of what it was like to deal me in now, as I look back, as a flavor of what it was like to be a professional poker player in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Because that book came out, what, in 05 or 06?
Yeah. And no, it's impressive. Where did Poker Brat get coined? Who was the first person to call you the Poker Brat, or was it yourself?
No, that was not me. That was Andy Glazer.
All right, okay.
So Andy Glazer was, the all-star poker writer, right? And he, I have a funny story about how I met him. Should I tell it?
Yeah, of course.
So my wife and I choose a vacation, and we choose to go to a place called Esalen. Esalen's a very famous spiritual place. So we decide we're going to go study Buddhism with the master, the Lama Suryadas. Suryadas has become bigger and bigger and bigger in Buddhism and has lots of books out. So my wife and I go to Esalen for our vacation to study Buddhism. I'm like, hun, can't we go to like a 5-star hotel somewhere? So we drive down the California coast. We arrive at the most beautiful place you've ever seen. One of the houses is right underneath a waterfall. But they have the natural hot springs there, but you're not allowed to wear clothing. So everybody has to go into the hot springs naked. And my wife chose not to talk. That was part of the training. And so I wasn't going to do much talking. And one day she's like, hey, I'm going to go get some food. And I'm like, I'm going to the hot tub. So the natural springs. So I go down there, no clothes on. And sitting across from me is this guy talking about what I think is a poker tournament. And I'm like, no way. Come on, this is a spiritual place. He's talking about a poker tournament. At the end of it, he's talking to one of I guess Andy worked there. And somehow I said, oh, I dabble a little bit in poker. He's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I play here and there. And I was trying to be modest because that's what we were taught that week. Of course, this was during a time when I wasn't as modest in the 1990s. And I guess the world thinks I'm not modest, but they don't know me that well. But anyway, after you listen to this interview, I sound cocky. I'll give you that. So anyway, there's Andy. And he's like, oh, so he starts asking question. I'm trying to brush it off. Almost sorry I brought it up. And then Andy says, oh, what's your name? And I say, Phil Hellmuth. And he's like 6'6". The 6'6" big naked guy stands straight up out of the hot tub, and he says to his friend, that's like Michael Jordan saying that he dabbles in basketball, and like over and shakes my hand, walks over to shake my hand, this big naked guy, and I shake his hand. And we were connected after that. And he was a writer, and so he wanted to write my autobiography. And when I finally started writing the autobiography, he wanted to help me with my first book too, so now I sold my book to HarperCollins, and he wanted to help me, but he got sick right then. And so I wrote the book myself. He wrote, maybe of that book, say it's 94,000 words. Andy wrote about 8,000 words. And but I was depending on him, but he was sick. So I started doing it myself, 1,500 words a day, every day. Bam, 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 bam. And it got easy because I'm writing about poker strategy. And so, but we had a long-term plan of him writing the autobiography, but unfortunately, he died.
Really,
And then he ate.
you touched on basketball there. Did you ever get a chance to play at a high level, or were you a big fan? Would you have loved a career in basketball rather than poker?
I mean, basketball would be great. I've been getting a little time with Draymond Green lately. He and I went on a little trip together for 4 or 5 days,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how hard he works out even on vacation is pretty crazy. Basketball would have been amazing, but I think if you want, you have to be great at basketball if you want to make the big money, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the guys aren't great. Unfortunately, if you're the 50th best or maybe 100th best basketball player in the world, you don't do as well. Now that's changing,
Mm.
but I love basketball, and I was never never world class. I mean, I'm 6'6" almost, and I could dunk, but barely. I probably dunked 5 times in life, so yeah, I didn't have the skills to play basketball.
We're glad you stuck to poker. In 2003, 2004, the poker boom was like, it just exploded. Did you see it coming? What did you think of it at the time?
Yeah, I mean, I remember someone found me in '04, Michael Kaplan, a writer from New York, and he said, Phil, you told me in the 1990s that they
Mm-hmm.
were going to have in stadiums, and everybody laughed at you. And he said, now look, we're having the final in the Penn and Teller Theater. And not just finals, but also I thought there'd be so many. He said, you predicted there'd be so many players that fill a football stadium. And he said, you were so right about that. And so, yeah, I saw that coming, but then I didn't see it coming as fast. So I saw it coming in 1995. I thought it would happen earlier at a much
Yeah.
slower pace. But no one saw it in '03 and '04 and '05 going on ESPN and exploding that and becoming a global phenomena. I didn't see that much. So, but yeah, I saw poker getting big.
Yeah, and now obviously you're part of the ESPN team that covers the main events, the final tables, the commentating. Do you still get a buzz when you're commentating in rather than playing?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, this year was one of my fun little stories. I'm on stage, and whenever it's about once every 2 hours, they cut to me.
Yeah.
And this year it was with Maria Ho, and of course, Kara, who's amazing, and Maria, who's amazing. And so it's the two of them and me. And but I wouldn't commit to doing any of the comment. I wouldn't commit to any of that while there were tournaments still going on. And finally,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So I played the $5,000 buy-in turbo event, and I think they were rebuys in it this year. So I busted. I went right into the commentary booth, and then I told Maury and I told ESPN. I said I will be there for the rest of the time, even if I'm in the tournament. So I enter the 5,000 turbo like literally at the deadline. I go over there and I play for 8 minutes, and then I come back and do the commentary. So I'm already dressed up as a commentator. And then boom, they cut to me live on ESPN and on the global coverage. And that's so much fun for me. It gives me a huge buzz. When you're live in front of millions of people, like I've been live on Anderson Cooper, there's a huge buzz there. Yes. So I've got this huge going on. And the minute I'm done, I'm like, am I clear? They're like, yes. And so I disconnect one thing to make sure that they take the headphones off, and I go, but I'm still connected. I can still what's hearing at the final table. And I go right back to play the tournament. And now I got my money in bad, which is very rare for me. Jacks against aces. I mean, I had to as a turbo. I hit a jack. I got it in bad one more time. Maybe it was like ace 4, and the other guy called me with 6s. I hit that. And so I'm getting lucky, which is, not my usual modus operandi as far as getting my money in bad. But I'm hitting some hands, and yes, I admit I was very lucky. And 2 hours later, now I have to leave the turbo where the blinds are going up this quick. I have to leave the turbo for half an hour to go do my commentary. I have to show up 8 minutes early or 7 minutes early. And so now I'm doing very live from the World Series, but I've been tracking it the whole time. I've been reading the updates as I'm playing. They're sending me the hands that are coming up. I'm listening to what's happening at the table. So I'm informed on what's happening over there. And I do that. So now I go live on ESPN again And meanwhile, I'm in the tournament over there with chips, and we're getting close to the money. And I believe that I think we may have hit the money while I was doing the commentary. So then, boom, I finish that. I go right back, and I'm still dressed in my suit, and you know what I mean. But it gives me an excuse to wear the Aria hat live on television, because I told ESPN, I said, listen, if you want me and I'm still a player, I'm going to dress like a player.
Yeah.
So they told all the players they can't wear any logos, any gear, but I'm an exception when I'm in a poker tournament. And so at least I got an excuse to get the Aria live on global television a couple times. And so then I make day 2. So then I think that was it for the night, but I'm hanging out for the coverage. But meanwhile, I make it to the end of the day. And I think there's about 25 of us left. So now next day, I have to do the commentary and play the tournament. And we get to the final table pretty quickly. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be final 4 tournament or 3 in this tournament. I'm going to have to leave for 20 minutes. Will the players at the table stop the tournament for 20 minutes for me? I don't even want to ask, but I'm going to ask when it comes to that. And so meanwhile, I've had to go into makeup and so I'm all ready to go. I'm all in my suit and ready to go. But I'm at this final table and I'm watching the countdown on when I'm going to get needed. And unfortunately for me, I busted in 6th place in the tournament. There were 2 final tables left as the main event final table. This was also the main event final table where they were going to finish it, I believe. Yeah. And so there's 3 tables that are left in that whole hall. There's the one when I left, there were 5 left. There was another one that had 5 left, and then there was the main event. And so so I busted 6th, unfortunately, and I go into my perch up there, and I'm really into just the main event, but I'm looking over, watching the other 2 final tables, which were basically right next door to us. And then I think they gave me a shout out. It might have also been my birthday that day. So they gave me a shout out for my birthday. They gave me a shout out for just busting 5th in a tournament, or 6th, or whatever it was. It was all kind of a weird thing. And then I was able to just focus on, the commentary for there, because that was it.
Brilliant. Super competitive, we know. 16 cashes last year in the World Series. I think it was 12 the year before. I think there's only 1 year in the last 25 that you haven't cashed in one of the series. Where did this super competitiveness come from?
I mean, it came from, I talk about this in my autobiography. Very simple. I'm the oldest of 5, as I mentioned earlier in the interview. And what I didn't mention is I have ADD, and my athletic skills aren't as good as my brothers and sisters. So it's the oldest of 5 watching my brothers and sisters flourish and basically get straight A's, and me getting C's. And then watching them flourish in athletics. They're all doing well in athletics, but I didn't have the same skill set they had. I had to hold on to something for my own sanity, right? When I'm 7, I had a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a baby in my family. For my own sanity, I had to be the best at games. And so every game we played, I had to be the best. So every game we played, I learned from an early age how to devise perfect tactics in all these games. Scrabble, and the fact that I studied Latin, I'm an excellent Scrabble player. All these games that required strategy and skill, backgammon, I learned how to become great at all these games. And
well, we're coming back in. The guys are coming back in. There's only 4 players left. Ari Sharkashik, there he is in the left-hand side. Who's now locked up with the prizes. We'll just run the prizes across the board. Afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. No Jay now. Jay, hopefully he's in his sick bed. I really hope he's gone back into his sick bed, because he's not very well. Ari Sharkashik in seat number 2. Leon Campbell in seat number 4 now. Dave Doherty in 6, and in seat number 8 is Dominic Nitschke. And we are ready to rock and roll and do it all again. 4 left, down to a winner, whenever that may be. Whenever that may be. So let's do it. Let's do it. We are on 4.
No, I was like, I'm terrible sometimes. It's actually amazing I don't make no mistakes calling jumps, because it's like I'm terrible eyeball.
We are on 4. Just starting back. Here's Leon. Dominic is on his way. David Crane first out in the final, then Jimmy in 8th for 10.3. Francis Oberdon with the ace-9 off, letting 1.4 million rip. And then Dan Stacey was eliminated in 6th, and just before the break of 40 minutes was Lee French. We're down to 4. And as you can see, 565,000 just shy of in the prize pool. 138 for first, 100 exactly for second. Third is 60.7, and 4th place is locked up £38,700. Over 300 bets on today, and 55 of them have gone on to the 33 to 1 shot. Dominic Nitschke, who was slashed into 20s, but still 55 bets on. And Leon's just taking the old selfie of him and Dominic playing on the same table. He's only got 18 million in live earnings as Dominic, and just a 7.4 online as well. Owns DTO, the poker app, and he's a bit of a big player to be playing in Luton. But good friends with Andy Tank, and has made it down to Luton. We're on the final 4. Off we go. Jay's in bed. You got the tower until we crown a champion. And don't forget, I'm saying you need to refresh from YouTube. If you haven't refreshed, you won't be able to hear me. So early blinds at 25.50. Dominic raises to 175. And now Dave sat in seat 6. He's going to make the call with the ace. Ten, 6, 3, 2 clubs. Bottom 2 for Dominic. Smacks him in the face yet again. So it slaps him in the face, and Dave Doherty has to get out of the way.
Raise 100,000. Oh.
So we're on 4. Last man out, Lee French for 24,610.
Sat there like, I haven't done anything. I'm pretty sure he was getting berated by a German here.
Yeah, man, that's really low morale, isn't it?
Oh, thanks. I want to be careful.
Dom's all about the excitement of the rail, I can see.
There's Jack Hardcastle railing the big players. Dave Doherty travel around together, play a lot of poker together. There's Dave and Dominic. Dave, Ben, and Jack.
You're missing comment from the channel.
I'll rail this.
Kind of rail this. He clearly doesn't know well. That's more important. That's more important than Sunday. He just fucking wins all week. Yeah. Just plays one comp per month.
Yeah, Dominic played the turbo on day 1C after busting day 1B.
Oh, surprised you don't have the 530 up on your phone.
Yeah, actually, no, it's.
Well, Leon in seat number 4. Aria in seat number 2.
170,000.
Yeah. I don't actually know offhand what it actually was. We'll try and dig it out, but I don't think it was too high. He was third shortest coming into day 3, which is why he was priced up at 20s. But we know. And the really weird thing is that when he was chipping away, he was never at risk. He never had his tournament life in the middle. Yeah, he is an ambassador of 888. And there's an 888 event in the Vic in December. And might even be in November, actually. I wonder if he's going to be there. He might be down in the Vic. There's an 888 event in November. King 9 deuce flop. Dave flops the flush draw and the best of it. So he's going to bet out after initial raise by Leon. Dave calls. And a bet of 180 from Leon and a call from Dave Doherty. The 27th to the 31st of October. I know it was sometime. Sometime soon. I'm guessing he's going to be in the Vic for that if he's an ambassador of 888. $28,000 for day 2. Very nice. We're about 24 bigs. 7 of clubs roll off gives Dave Doherty the tick. And Dave checks. 5 of spades hits the river. Leon, I'm guessing, has given up on the hand as Dave will bet out. This should go check fold. Yeah, just had it confirmed. End of this month for the 888, £444 buy-in. Leon bets 450. I thought he'd given up on the hand. I bet 450. Dave is going to win a juicy one. Don't say that, that's Sam Grafton. So I was thinking of bet sizing. And what's a bet? Is it a bet or a call? Do a raise? Yeah, the triangle is in the middle and that'll be a snap fold from Leon. He's making it look like he's got a big decision, but we know he hasn't. The hand goes to Dave Doherty and moves up to 2.6 mil. Aria, short stack, 740, doubles up, and he'll still be chump. But is in the final 4 here in Luton and has locked up over 30 grand. No deals at all, none, not any. No deals made.
Right, 100,000.
Good luck if you played the free roll. Let us know how you're doing. Winner will get a token for the £25,000 guaranteed closer tomorrow. It starts at 7.
It's like one raised to 100,000.
So Liam with the 5s, raising up under the gun, gets it through. 4 left. Great event. Thanks for Jay for coming in today. I know we're on his sick bed, but he managed to get it through till about 6 p.m. And then he went back to his sick bed. No, Dominic Nishke. I'll be very surprised if there's any talk of any deals at all. Obviously, we've got a really short stack on our table in seat 2. And then the 3 players have got more or less the same. Chips Dom's now got 3 mil. Started the day with 200,000.
Who's getting that username? Dom Lipshire. Yeah. Dom Lipshire.
I didn't know that was a thing.
James.
James Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, oops. That makes a lot of sense now.
So Dominic this time raising and taking. Lines 25.50. 12 bigs for Aria. But get himself a double up and
Well, you know, like Andy is a Monterey.
he'll be back in it.
Yeah.
Ludo is Monterey set jam.
You were subject to a non-straight.
But, oh my god, I nearly had an aneurysm with that. Rough.
Yeah, he tricked you.
So we have 4 players left. If you've just tuned in, this is how they felt and what is left to play for. Yes, Josh. Jay has gone back to his sick bed. He managed to get out of it this morning. He fell ill yesterday tea time and managed to get himself out of the sick bed today. It came until 6 p.m. but couldn't muster up any more energy. He's gone back to the sick bed. So you've got me until the end of Luton. There's 4 players left. Aria, Leon, David and Dominic.
Raise 100,000.
Eight 6 Dominic hits the flop, but we have a good shot for Dave. Ace of diamonds on the turn. No, Katie went home last night. She came in to say good night just as Jay was leaving us, and Andy Hills came in to have a chat with us for the final 3 hours last night, which we thank Andy Hills for, giving up his free time. Do we have a Glasgow schedule? No, we don't. We don't go to Glasgow. If you want to check the Poker Live app, whatever happening in Glasgow, it'll be on there. But we haven't got a Glasgow schedule. Edinburgh will have a 30-30 in the middle of November, straight after the 30-30s are there. There's the final two lots of 30-30s, Portsmouth, Berrynold Road and Glasgow next week. So if you want to play in Glasgow, next week is their 30-30, £400 buy-in, 50,000 guarantee. And the final points of the NPL, Wednesday the 10th to the Sunday the 14th of November, £400 buy-in, 50,000 guarantee. Leeds, Luton, Bolton and Edinburgh, and they are the final points for the NPL this year. By the time we get down to London, we'll know who's playing in the playoff. So we'll keep your eyes on those. But Glasgow is, for the 30-30, is the only thing we know that's going on in Glasgow. Greg says, do we know if the cash bad beat will go below quad twos, or will it stay? It'll stay at quad twos until it's gone. £245,000 now. And we had a hand on our feature table that would have won it if we'd have been playing cash. The quad fives. In fact, Harry's playing the seniors today. I don't know how Harry's going on, but he's playing the seniors. Yeah, it was a pretty sick hand, and apparently it's 1.27 billion to 1 to happen again. Apparently. Leon, 50,000 to call. He ain't calling. He's coming over the top of Dom. What's he making it? 325. And Dom just gets out of the way. Leon 4.1, Dom 3.2. Lines of 50,000. At some point, the 10 bigs, you're going to have to go in the middle from Aria if he gets a double up. He'll be able to sit there for a while, watching the other guys battle it out. Let us know how you're doing in the free roll for the live stream. Let us know who wins the £110 closer token, which will be used tomorrow. We 25,000 guaranteed tournament for tomorrow. 2-day event, starts at 7. Cracking event, make sure you get in for that. As we see the next slot, 5-6 queen. There's also satellites running every night for Blackpool. They alternate between 110 re-entries and £225 freeze outs to win yourself a £1,250 buy-in for Blackpool, and £2,000 package satellites on Sunday for the grand final, and packages starting next week for the grand final. So plenty going on online. Plenty of satellites for the 30-30s and £30 freeze outs, £11 rebuys every single night online for the 30-30s. If you want to get involved and get in for a fraction of the price, that is how to do it. Some great promotions and great satellite action to get into the 30-30s and the big ones coming up in Blackpool and the grand final online. Make sure you get on the clients as you're watching the final 4 here in Luton. Final 4. Biggest player at the table obviously is Dominic, but these remaining 3, Dave has cashed 5 times this year on the GUKPT circuit, and he was 11th in Edinburgh, getting unlucky a couple of times, and but playing well, and the form continues in Luton because this is a huge score. We have an all-in. It's the first one. He's down to 10 bigs. Now then, Leon. Leon with a king 9. It's half a mil to call. It's a fine margin. The king 9. I'm not making the call, but I'm not Leon Campbell. Now then, Dominic. Dominic will call. And this could be 3-handed. Dominic Nishki.
Maybe just give me a look.
calls with the ace-10. Aria Sarkashik is staring down at the barrel with ace-4 with his 10 bigs. Oh, we've got back doors. Oh, we've got a 4. Oh, back up to 20 bigs. Yep, back up to 20 bigs. Sit there, sit there, sit there. Get your 10 bigs in, double up. Guess what's going to happen now? Aria Sarkashik doubles up to 20 bigs. Tim, I'll go and ask PK. It's timeout. It's just a timeout on Facebook. I'll go and ask PK right now. On the case right now. Yeah, you have a timeout on Facebook of so many hours live streaming, so then you have to start it again. And as we've been going 8 hours, that's the cut-off. We'll be back with you very, very shortly. Anyone who's watching Facebook, just and you want to watch it on Facebook, just refresh, and it should be there. Yeah, so many people just watch it on YouTube and on Twitch as well. Probably more viewers on YouTube than anywhere else, to be fair. But wherever you're watching it and whatever you're watching it on, good to have you on board. Jay's gone off to his sick bed. Struggled on all day, it wasn't well. And he got us down to 5-handed, and then he left us because he was getting a little worse. So thanks for sticking with us. We know the analysis from Jay is going to be missed, but the action will still be here from the remaining 4 players. 22 bigs for Aria. Don't expect them to go in the middle lightly. Dominic with the Queen 10 on a 5-7-9 flop. Dom raised pre. He's going to continue the aggression. Leon has caught a piece and got a gutter ball as well. He should make the call. Which he does. So he turns the gutter ball, does Leon. I think he'll check to let the aggressor bet again. No, he's firing out. Thought he might have checked to see what Dominic does on the turn. So a bet of 2. And the fold. Thought he might have just managed to found another check there, but he didn't. Leon 4.4, Dave 2.6 and Dom 2.2. Ari has just doubled up to 22 bigs. Zacabella says he can't seem to open your bets on Grosvenor Sport. I don't know what issues they have, if any. Who do you think you've backed? Is that what you're looking at? So King 8-6 on the flop. Leon raising to 100. Aria calling the 50. Making on the lead line was 7-8. Is it a piece? Aria will call once, having second pair. Bet of 110. King pairs on the turn. Here's checkity check. On the river. Here's the Jack of Hearts. Going for a bet on the river Aria. Just doubled to 1.1 mil. And this is going to be a nice addition to his stack. And that is a nice addition to your stack. Gets up to about 1.4 mil. Still for Luton. We've had one double up in 2 hours since they've been four-handed. And Aria was that man in seat number 2.
He hasn't gone, Paul. What's wrong with that, actually?
4, 5, 8, the latest flop. Leon top pair checks. Dave initially raised and he's checked. Not hit the turn either.
That's 75.
Dave is looking down at ace 9. Leon, chip leader, out of the 4 players that are left. And Dave's going to make the call of 175. Non-believer. I might think he can put a sizable betting on the river and get Leon to get out of the way. All right, goes check, check. Leon going to take a nice pot off Dave GUKPT, who drops down at 2.3 mil with the blinds at 50,000. Still in good shape. 26 bigs as a short stack. There's plenty of time. 4 players remain in Luton from the 500 and 13 that played. 5-1-3. A massive turnout here. Absolutely huge turnout. 138,000 for first, 100,000 for second, 60 for fourth, 60 for third, and 38,710 for fourth. I don't know what the guarantee is for the IPO. I really don't know. I don't know. First event back after lockdown restrictions have lifted. I'm not sure if there is a guarantee. 50k, says Josh. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, it's tough for anybody to put guarantees on when they first start up. The operators are taking a bit of a gamble. Restrictions have literally just been lifted in Dublin. No, it's only €300. €300 is. So 30, 60 now. 30,000, 60,000. So 9s for Aria, 1.3 mil and 22 bigs, so the triangle goes in. Yeah, Ben T to ask him how many beers he's had. Is that for the day or the week? Yeah, we did ask, and he happily declined while he's railing his really good friend Dave Doherty. He happily declined. We did ask, but he's railing Dave as they travel around everywhere together. So we're back down to 20 bigs as the blinds go up. Aria, there's 22 big blinds. They're all railing Dave Doherty on the rail. Chris, Ben, Jack. The beer's flowing. They've locked up 38 grand. And they're playing for 138. They're in again. This time he's got sixes. He wants to count. He's not calling with the ace deuce. I know he's initially raised under the gun, but I don't think he's calling with the ace. Ace 5, ace 6 maybe. Ace 10, ace jack will be a snap, but sixes not. Yeah, maybe so, Chef, you're right, maybe so. And that's why they're railing life. That's how it works these days. Share and share alike with all the boys. That's how poker works in a lot of cases these days. And why not? If somebody gets a little slice of the cherry, then all is good. Queen 6-3, the next flop. Leon with ace 10 called pre after Dominic's open to 120. Dominic bets 75 on the flop, gets called by Leon with the best of it. Not anymore. It rolls reversals. Dominic hits the turn. Drag the pot washer in for commentary for his users. He's scoring the quiz sheets on Tuesday. That, to be fair, a lot of them are playing the 200-pounder that's going on as well, which is now in a break, as you can see. So they are on a break in the 200-pounder, which is why they're mulling round at the back. It's not as if they're not doing anything. They're all playing in the 200-pounder, and the seniors is going on as well. So there's plenty going on around the room. It's not as if they're not doing anything. They're all playing the 200-pounder. Good numbers for that. Seniors got 81. So they're all playing an event here in the club. There is the exactly. Can't believe it. Nick, I get it all the time. Get it all the time, can't believe it. So 4 players are left. Aria sat in seat number 2, doubled up. Leon Campbell, Dave Doherty and Dominic Nishki. 4 fantastic players making it down. 38,710 for next out, whenever that may be. We're down to 4 players. Blind to 30-60. Normally 100,000 would be a benchmark for the last level. It's been past it before. Oh no! What's happening? Oh no! If anybody else, no! No! What's happening? Oh, ladies and gentlemen! No! Yeah, I think proof is. I think proof is. Oh man, you can still hear me. That's good. My pictures have froze, and I don't know what's happening. So I'll carry on talking. Nishki, I think proof is spelling it how we say. Oh no, I think. Oh, I have no. I've definitely froze. I have indeed. You don't want that. I didn't unplug it. I haven't unplugged it. If you can hear me, just say a quick yes. Yes, we can hear you. I think proof is spelling Nishki how it's said. Oh, please don't say that. I'd really like to ask him what his surname is, and I really should. But it looks like the graphics have froze, yes, and you can hear me. Proof, apologies for the break. We don't know what it is. What we are doing is sending the players on a break, which helps with the live stream. It helps with the watching because the sound is working, but there's no pictures. We don't know what it is. Andy and PK are on it right now.